Hey, welcome to the DPP channel. Today we have a Miragegaogamon Burst Mode versus Royal Knights. Now both decks are from the newest set of BT13. Honestly, BT13 is an amazing set with very interesting decks such as the Burst Modes and of course the Royal Knight deck itself. Will the standard Evolution Line deck actually win over the newest playstyle introduced by Royal Knight? Let's find out in this game together. And of course, looking at the Miragegaogamon hand, we are looking at 3 level 5 in his hand as well as 2 Tamers and of course the Miragegaogamon itself. Not looking too good because he actually missed the rookie turn 1 and just gonna hard drop the Miragegaogamon for 7 cost, giving actually 5 memory to Royal Knight player. Now, the Royal Knight player just started quite strong given that he actually just hard played the Magnamon for just 2 costs, given that the Yggdrasil does reduce a total of 5 costs in the first turn and now it's going to reduce by 6 as we move on to 7 reduction thanks to the Magnamon. It's going to draw 1 thanks to the Magnamon effect, because once he leaves the field you can actually play or rather just draw 1. Very solid, I would say, and he has not much place in the hand. Of course, he does have a System on to actually hopefully draw into something greater, because the rest of the Royal Knight in his hand doesn't really have a significant play in his turn. He's going to drop the System on Blanc. He's going to discard 1 card in his hand. He's going to discard the Jasmine GX, and of course going to draw 2 cards here. He does draw into the Dynaspawn, which is definitely the card you want to see, and especially he can actually reduce the cost of the Dynaspawn almost immediately by 6, I believe. So I just think he's just going to drop it here. Going to draw a Dynaspawn, and it will just be 3 costs. So actually there's a reduction of 7 already. And looking at top 4, we do see one of the Royal Knight option there, which is definitely what he wants to pick up. And it really helps accelerate the deck also. He's going to pick up the Purge of the Royal Knights as one of the cards. And if you guys don't already know what Purge the Royal Knights do, it actually allows you to draw 1 and slot in 1 Royal Knight underneath your Yggdrasil. Basically, for every Yggdrasil Digisources that you may have under it, you actually reduce the cost of your hard play Royal Knights by 1. So it can actually stack up quite a bit and can actually reach a significant amount. It's going to pick up the Magnamon, of course, adding it to hand. And the left player isn't having the best of fun at all, given that he just draw into another level 5. But looks like just going to evolve to the Miragegaogamon here, which allows him to draw 1, of course. For the evolve, it's going to bounce the System on back to hand. And for every 4 cards, it's going to gain 1 memory, especially it's going to be tricky for the Royal Knight player, because now every time he does draw a special card, even through Magnamon or even Dynasmon, basically adding cards to his hand, he's going to actually give memory to the left player and potentially passing the turn. The left player could have been in a better position, honestly, if he had a rookie from the starting turn, and of course evolving to the champion, and of course evolving to the Miragegaogamon. Now we do see the Royal Knight actually going for the Magnamon play and going to the Purge of the Royal Knights, which allows him to draw 1, which I explained earlier. He's going to slot 1 of the cards underneath. He's going to slot the Jasmine GX, and it's going to gain 1 memory for every Yggdrasil underneath the Yggdrasil itself. So we're looking at just a 3 cost Purge of the Royal Knights. Now definitely the guy does play a very interesting variant of the Royal Knight, given that he's playing towards Jasmine GX. So Jasmine GX is actually a Royal Knight card if you guys didn't already notice, and it also has this very strong option to pair along it. Now, the left player actually do draw into another level 5, because why not? Actually prior to this game, they actually had to split their deck into deck lists for the judges to actually review the decks. So most likely he didn't actually shuffle nicely, and we do see actually drawing to the Marion Blue, so that's at least something. He's going to play it down straight away looking at top 4, and we do see the champion, the rookie, and of course going to pick up the rookie, because that's where you actually start your engine, or rather the whole purpose of this Digimon deck. So it's going to just pass Sheer into the right player. The right player is going to actually use the Yggdrasil effect to actually suck in the Magnamon underneath the Yggdrasil, and of course drawing 1. And this draw actually costs him 2 memory here because of the Miragegaogamon, as he does have at least 8 cards in hand, so it's going to give 2 memory to the left player here. But of course, with the Yggdrasil reduction of cost, he actually isn't too scared. He can actually just hard play most of the Royal Knights in his hand. He's going to hard play the Gankumon for just 11 costs. It's going to just allow him to actually hard play the Dynaspawn from the Yggdrasil Digisource. And do note that actually Gankumon allows you to play the on-play effect, which is definitely something different from the Purge of the Royal Knights. So he actually is going to just use the Dynaspawn effect, allowing him to search a top 4 once again, really hitting to the important pieces. So as a Royal Knight player, what you're looking for is basically the Omimon itself, and of course the other variations of the Royal Knights, because you do want separate Royal Knights underneath Yggdrasil to allow Omimon to spawn all of them in one single turn. So he actually does pick up the Kentaro spawn, I believe. Of course, the other Dynaspawn, because Dynaspawn is going to allow you to keep searching, and do note that Dynaspawn actually discard the rest of the search into the drop zone so you can actually pick it up later with the Lognitmon. So there's a synergy right there with the Dynasmon and the Lognitmon. So we do see the rookie finally evolving on the Miragegaogamon side, and he does actually draw into a champion, which is definitely very welcome because he could actually miss it one more time. Going to go for the memory boost, pushing 3 memory. It's going to evolve to the Gaogamon for 2 costs. Now he's going to be at 1 memory. He's going to actually just play the Tamer to pass the turn. Now this new Tamer is a very interesting Tamer, I would say, because it is a memory setter. Okay, that's pretty deep, normal, I would say. And it does have an additional effect whereby both players do draw a card when your Gaogamon do attack. So actually it procs all the Gaogamon effects because Gaogamon effects require your opponent to actually draw a card through an effect, and this Tamer does solve the problem immediately. Now of course, the Royal Knight player had to be very careful when he hard play the Dynasmon, so he's actually going to count the cards in his hand because you don't want to just hard play the Dynasmon and passing the turn, because it does give a window of opportunity for the Miragegaogamon player to actually start hitting your security. And with all the Thomas being set up and of course the level 5 ESS, you are going to be very careful. Now the Dynasmon do actually give up 3 memory there, which is definitely unfortunate, but what to do? Because he does actually have 12 cards in hand. So he's going to actually just pass the turn by playing Poach the Royal Knights here to draw 1 card. That's drawn to the Alphorse Vidramon. So we shall see what you're going to slot in underneath it. It's going to slot in the Leopardmon there, and Leopardmon actually is one of the best cards to have underneath the Yggdrasil, because when you can use the Push the Royal Knights to actually call it back, you can actually use the main phase effect to actually reduce the next Royal Knight you're going to call by 4, which is definitely very helpful, especially when you're in a more choky situation. Now Thomas does actually allow you to draw 1 card, and the Miragegaogamon is going to gain a bunch of memory here. I think it's going to gain another 3 memory, pushing it up to 6 memory already, and it's going to use the level 5 Miragegaogamon skill to actually withstand it. We do hit into another Push the Royal Knights there, so the opponent has 3 Push the Royal Knights already set up. It's going to swing one more time with just 12k DP and does hit into the Omimon, and the Omimon being in the drop zone does bring out an opportunity for the right player if he does have the Lognitmon, which from the his hand, he does actually have it, so he actually can guarantee in the next turn, which is pretty scary if you ask me. The left player does eventually move up to the level 5 in the nursery, and is actually going to consider playing the Sorai, and Sorai does have a decent answer against Royal Knight because you actually delay the Royal Knights from actually OTKing you, which is possible in the next turn given that he has so much resources underneath already. He might actually just do it just to do a preventive action, but looks like he's going to play a Tamer first. He's going to play the Thomas Tamer to allow him to draw 1 card. He does draw into another champion. He's going to just go play the Sorai. And if you guys don't really know, the Royal Knights actually, when they spawn out from the Omimon, they don't actually have any Digi sources. So Sorai basically is just saying, hey, you're not going to attack this turn, so I do have another turn to survive and potentially play next turn. So how will the Royal Knight actually be able to react to this? We shall see, as he does suck in the Dynasmon first. It looks like he's going to use the Push of the Royal Knight option. No, he's going to start counting first, and I think I believe it's about 10. Reduction of 10 or more. He's going to hard play the Lognitmon for basically free, so I imagine it's going to be 12 instead, and does pick up the Omimon immediately to hand. He's going to use Push of the Royal Knights actually to start spawning Digimons underneath Yggdrasil, and it does gain Rush, but however, it can't attack thanks to the Sorai. It's going to actually hard play the Magnamon there. Very interesting. It's going to use another Push of the Royal Knights already. I believe he's going to pop all of it this turn, and then eventually calling the Omimon. He's going to call the Leopardmon, and if you guys actually read the Leopardmon effect, actually it gains, or it gives all the Royal Knight a blocker effect. That's pretty nuts if you ask me, because of what's going to happen. It's going to use the Leopardmon to reduce 4 cost and hard play the Omimon for 10, and then popping the Yggdrasil, then allowing him to spawn each and one of the Royal Knights underneath the Yggdrasil for basically free. Now all of them do gain Rush, but it doesn't matter once again thanks to the Sorai. And let's not forget that the Omimon spawning, or rather the spawn of the Royal Knights through Omimon effect, does allow them to play the on-play effect. So firstly, we do have the Dynasmon effect coming through first. It's going to pick up the 2 of the Jesmon GX option, and we hope to see in the next turn, if there's a next turn, you're going to see the Gankumon actually playing a Systemon from the drop zone. It's going to play the Systemon Seal, which allows him to look at the top 3 to add 1 Royal Knight card. He's going to add the Dukemon, which does have a very strong effect as well, especially if you do have a very thick drop zone. He's going to add it to hand. He's going to just actually put it one side. I believe that's all of the Royal Knight on play effect, and do note that Lognitmon does have this mini ISO effect. I wouldn't really call it mini anymore because look at the amount of Royal Knights he does have. We're looking at, let me count, 9 Royal Knights. So imagine the left player starts swinging at the security. He's going to actually just pass 9 memory immediately. Talk about a very strong Hammer Spark. Now the Leopardmon also adds a blocker effect to all the Royal Knights on the field, so essentially the right player is definitely safe from lethal this turn. The left player is going to try something though, he's going to actually push out the level 5 as he's going to actually hard play a rookie. I believe that's a Gaomon. He's still thinking about it. I don't think there's much outs against the Lognitmon, and the Leopardmon's shut down. He's going to use the Gaomon to allow him to draw one accordingly, or together with the Royal Knight. And what's going to be the next move? Honestly, it's so tough. He can't actually hit through the wall thanks to the Leopardmon full of blockers. Even the Digimon GX is a blocker, man. Just imagine the headache the left player has. Of course, the left player didn't have a good start, honestly. The right player wouldn't have been in this good situation if not for the slow start that the Miragegaogamon have. And I just noticed that the memory counter is actually just a $1 coin of Singapore dollars. Okay, very interesting. And we do see him actually drawing into the memory boost. Not gonna do too much, I believe, as he does evolve to the Miragegaogamon for 3 costs, which allows him to actually bounce the Magnamon 2 hand. And of course, it does proc a bunch of effect, which allows you to gain a bunch of memory, 2 memory in fact, and still staying on his turn. So the right player do draw an extra card there. Apologies for that misplay, but of course it's not going to affect too much of the game here. It's most likely a reflex because he thought the turn was over. Now the left player do actually swing the Miragegaogamon, and in this point of time, I was actually thinking why the Lognitmon didn't gain 8 memory there. Okay, so simply when you're doing streaming games, okay, under the camera, it's actually pretty nervous or rather scary. So he actually didn't gain an 8 memory, which I imagine behind the stream all this time. So that's pretty unfortunate that we didn't get to witness it, and he didn't actually choose to block it with all the Royal Knights blocker that he actually has. So he's just giving the left player a chance to swing at security. And looking at top 4, he does hit into the Miragegaogamon, which I believe was what he was aiming for, because he was digging so deep with the level 3, level 4 and the level 5. Now of course, with the right player having a total of 10, almost 10 Digimons to swing, and it's going to actually evolve to Leopard mode. Okay, he's going to swing at the level 5, which does allow him to restand by just resting all the system on. So very nice, but he's going to actually use the other runners to start swinging at the security. And I don't think there's much outs here unless he does hit into a Sorai. The Sorai will be coming very clutch here because it will actually stop all the Royal Knights from swinging and actually giving one more turn to the left player. But left player doesn't actually have any Digimon in the nursery, so this is pretty unfortunate. He does actually hit into the Ice Wall, but if the last security is not another Hammer Spark or Sorai, this will be game over. It does hit into a Gaomon, and it's going to end the game with the Magnamon. So this is where the Royal Knight actually take the W. So this is the Royal Knight deck list if you guys are interested in playing the Digimon GX variant. And this is the Miragegaogamon deck list if you guys are interested as well. So thank you guys for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing, dropping a like and a comment if you guys do enjoy the content.